Now, this programme is all about beams and triangles and trusses, the kind that you see on railway bridges. And you might well ask, what does a vulture have to do with a railway bridge? Well, remember it. It's going to provide us with a great lesson before this half hour is over. In the first two programmes of this series, I nattered on about the loads that a structure has to put up with and the pushing, pulling, twisting and bending that results. Now it's time to look in more detail at just how a structure does handle those loads and at some of the structures that do it differently to others. Now, it may not seem obvious, but the best place to start is with the roof over our heads. You see, when you think about it, a solid roof over one's head is the prime requirement for any civilized existence. Without roofs, there'd be no permanent buildings. Without buildings, there'd be no settlements, no cities, well, there's no need to go on, is there? But the problem is, permanent roofs are heavy. And finding ways of holding that roof up there goes right back to the beginnings of civilization itself. In fact, it's quite probable that we needed roofs long before we needed walls. When we look at a famous building, or for that matter, any building, it's always very sobering to realise that the way the architect has solved the roofing problem affects more than just the look of the roof. It affects the walls, the openings in those walls, and in fact, the whole design of the building. So starting a building from the top down may sound silly, but in fact, it makes a great deal of sense. There are lots of possible approaches to the design of a roof structure. Let's look at some of the early ones. If we go back to the Roman and Byzantine empires, we'll see that almost all the roofs are sloped. But the problem is that as gravity pulls the weight of a roof down, it means that the sloped roof pushes outwards vigorously. Here's an easy way to demonstrate that fact. These two young people are forming a sloping roof in 2 dimensions. Now, whilst they're on solid ground, nothing much happens. But we've actually cheated. They're standing on skateboards, and we're holding them in place with our feet. Look what happens when we pull our feet away. Are you ready, guys? We'll catch you if anything happens. Okay,